How is everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Facebook. We're going to talk about other social media in general a little bit later, but right now, as I'm speaking, we're going to talk about Facebook. Now, they've been getting a lot of bad press as of late. It really centers around the old data collection kerfuffle that happened with Cambridge Analytica. I think that was kind of a nothing burger, honestly, but what they did in that case just opened the door for other things to get more attention because they're already in the news, and then you have things that compile upon top of it. People are starting to cut the proverbial Facebook cord. People like Steve Wozniak, the man who co-founded Apple Computer, he says he wants to cut the cord from Facebook. A lot of other big name people, celebrities, and I'll put maybe a list of them in the description box below. They say they're done with Facebook. Also, just a regular, average, everyday normie. They're talking about being done with Facebook on the platform and on other social media platforms, YouTube, television. Diamond and Silk, who I love, two great women, black women who are Trump supporters. They came out on Fox News and gave an interview about how Facebook is mistreating them because they do a lot of content on social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. They have a big presence on Facebook, but recently they have been getting less engagement, less views, less attention to their posts that they had been months ago. So they're contacting Facebook, them, and of course their team, if they have anybody helping them, which I'm sure they do. They contacted Facebook to see what's going on. They kept getting the runaround. Nobody's really trying to answer any questions. But finally, after some months, I think they said about 6 months and some days, they got a response which says something along the lines of, you have been deemed unsafe by the community, whoever that is. And since they've been deemed unsafe, that's why they don't get as much reach as they should. So that's not good PR for Facebook at all when you have two black women who are conservative and just people in general who are being discriminated against by the platform. And it's not just conservatives. Like I said, my man Steve Wozniak, one of the co-founders of Apple, he says he wants to cut the cord. And I don't know why it's to be a right-wing nut job or anything like that. As far as I know, he's pretty much on the left or neutral as far as any kind of political affiliation is concerned. But there's been all kind of things that have been going on with Facebook. And the question has to be, why is all this happening? Why is Facebook being saddled with all of these issues at once? I think the answer is pretty clear. And that is the owner, the big boss, the CEO, Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg should not be in front of any television cameras. He does not do very well. He is a kind of guy that has to be coached in order to speak. He is not a naturally good speaker.
Hi there, Colin. Begin eye contact. 2, 3, and away. Nailed it.
If you are Facebook and you have billions of dollars in liquid cash at your disposal, why do you have this guy who can barely talk, who can barely handle a basic interview on a local news station, let alone before Congress? He has to go before Congress in a few days here. I think it's on the 13th of this month. So we're talking about just a handful of days. He has to go speak in front of Congress. He's not able to do it right now. I mean, he's out here trying to hire aides to coach him how to publicly speak. It's like, look, man, time's a wasting. You got to talk in a few days. Why are you trying to hire coaches now? He's not ready. He should not be out in front. He should be somewhere on a boat sipping out of a cup that was carved from a coconut or a pineapple. He shouldn't be trying to be the Facebook main presence to the world. You should have some kind of PR person that goes out there and speak, or hire somebody, give them a big fancy title, executive of public relations or whatever. The same kind of way Uber, they did it. I mean, they went a little bit too far to the wind. They got that lady Bozoma or something. I'll put a picture of her on the screen before you. She is a little bit far off into the wilderness when you're talking about SJW hire, in my humble opinion. But this is the correct move. Have her. I mean, she can speak, and that takes the weight off of the CEO's back. What's that? I forget my man's name, but he had all kind of issues. I think the actual big boss stepped aside. I don't really know what's going on with them, but there have been a lot of issues because he got caught in that car. Remember that? He got caught in that car with the guy, and the guy cussed him out and really didn't have any answers. So after something like that happens, you don't want to be the front guy. You hire her to be out there and speak for you. You don't speak. You just go somewhere, like I said, go to some island and have a cup, shipped out of a coconut and be sipping your pina colada and enjoy your life. Don't be trying to be the guy that's in front. Mark Zuckerberg just is not the guy. I think he wants to be the guy, but him being the guy is going to cause the downfall of the whole platform. It's just like Sam Rothstein in Casino. If you ever seen that movie, it's the prime example. And if you've seen that iconic scene in the desert where Sam Rothstein was getting dressed down by Joe Pesci's character in Casino, it was beautiful. Joe Pesci's character represents the majority of people who use the platform of Facebook. And of course, Sam Rothstein is Mark Zuckerberg. He could have had the job in food and beverage. He could have just been down low, hiding out, not really being in the front. He could give his ideas to people, and they could just put it through a think tank machine at Facebook's campus, and then they come up with a way to convey that to the general public, okay? Rather than him trying to be out there explaining it. It's just like a lot of companies, they have issues, right? But nobody really knows who to point the finger at, okay? When you're talking about Apple, I mean, people knew who Steve Jobs was. See, Steve Jobs was great. He was not only, he was a genius in many different ways. He was a genius as far as what he was able to do with the company, the hardware, the software, all of that stuff, the iPhone. I mean, that revolutionized the world. And he was able to speak publicly. He wore the same thing all the time. I think Mark Zuckerberg is trying to be like Steve Jobs, but Steve Jobs is one of a kind. Zuckerberg cannot be him. He cannot fill his shoes. The guy they have in there right now at Apple, Tim Cook, is much more laid back, doesn't really say too much. He is not trying to be the face of Apple the way that Steve Jobs was the face of Apple. And it just makes sense because he knows his position. He knows what he's good at. He knows what he's not good at. Unlike Mark Zuckerberg trying to be Sam Rothstein, all out there in the public, peacocking, trying to be like Steve Jobs, trying to be the face. No, he doesn't need to do that. This is part of the reason why Facebook is falling, and they are falling. Don't get it twisted. Like I said, other companies, you don't really know who is the front guy, who to blame, but Facebook, you absolutely do. You have all this media attention that's negative, all this bad PR, and you have this guy who was the easy mark, who can't even really defend himself verbally because he's not really a good speaker. I mean, he'll break down into a nervous sweat at a basic interview. So how is he going to handle Congress? How is he going to handle the weight of the entire world coming at him at once? He's not going to be able to do it. And the weakest link in the chain will make the whole chain break. And that's what's happening right now on Facebook. And I think Mark Zuckerberg is the weakest link. But people say to me, Anthony, how is Facebook going to fall? They're a big company. They're too big to fail. Well, do you remember MySpace? At one point, I thought they would never go away. Back in the day when I first started doing stuff online, started making money online, MySpace was the hub where everybody went. I still say MySpace right around 2007, 2008 was the best. Before they started making all these changes and trying to monetize it more than what it was perfect. Man, we had all kind of stuff that was on top of MySpace that we made money on. I mean, we converted it into like basically a website. We would design websites on MySpace. It was really crazy. We did a lot on there. And I think that people maybe took it for granted, maybe didn't realize how good that was, or they took it for granted and didn't realize how good they had it before. Started making changes. Other platforms started to arise. And then when the changes became too much, where it just became something that people didn't want, other platforms took their market share. I remember when Twitter came out, it was a perfect time. MySpace was making changes, therefore declining. And then here comes Twitter. Here comes Facebook opening it up to the general public rather than having it just for college students only. Anybody could join it. So those two factors combined with MySpace making mistakes made MySpace instantly disappear. It went from being the social media behemoth to non-existent. Okay. The same thing can happen with Facebook. It'll be a little bit harder for Facebook because Facebook has their tentacles and everything. They own a lot of different things. Instagram is owned by Facebook. So a lot of folks are saying, well, I'm gonna go to Instagram. Well, it's the same thing. If you buy ads on Facebook, they can also appear in Instagram. I've done it before. So it'd be a little bit harder for them to fall, but all it takes is for an upstart company or something to make another company that already exists more popular. All it takes is for that company to take off, for Facebook to totally just diminish or to dramatically reduce as far as its market share. I think Mark Zuckerberg and or Facebook as a company lost like 86 billion or some kind of crazy number. I may be overstating that number, but it's very high. And if I could find a number, I'll place that on the screen before you, also in the box below. But to wrap it on up, I think that Facebook has a lot of different issues they're dealing with. Bad PR, discriminating against conservatives, discriminating against a lot of different people. Yet at the same time, they have snuff films, sex films, crazy private groups. They have a lot of spam, a lot of garbage on the website. And they need to fix all that if they want to maintain their relevance. Maybe they think they're too big to fail. Maybe Mark Zuckerberg is a little arrogant, thinks that he can't fall. But I assure you, as the sky is blue during the day, that they most certainly can and will fail if they don't tighten up. So what do you think? Do you think that Facebook is doomed? Can they turn the ship around? Can they make things right? Can they do anything to fix the negative PR they're getting right now? Should Mark Zuckerberg take a back seat? Should they hire somebody that knows how to speak, that knows what they're doing, that knows how to convey a message? What about when Mark Zuckerberg speaks in front of Congress? What's going to happen there? Is it going to be a dumpster fire? Is it going to be a train wreck? I'm going to be watching it. If I can stream it, I most certainly will, because I think that most certainly needs to be a thing that is shown to the general public to see exactly what's happening. How is this guy going to talk? And I think a lot of the people that are going to be on this so-called panel interviewing him have taken money from him. So that's going to be interesting to see how they actually treat this. Some may look at this interview meeting, whatever's going to happen in front of Congress, as an end-all be-all thing. Like, this is going to reveal all the information. But like I said, people that are going to be interviewing him have allegedly taken money from him, from his company, through one degree or another. So it'd be interesting to see how they interact with him. I think we all know the truth about Facebook, what's going on. So when he speaks in front of Congress, we're going to see how he acts and how he is treated by those who are interviewing him. But that's pretty much all I got. So whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.